In this video, I'm putting a GT3 muffler on my salvage title Porsche 996 to create what I think is one of the best sounding exhaust setups on a base C2 996. We're also going to be modifying the car with coilovers from BC Racing to make this thing handle incredible, and we'll be knocking out tons more maintenance along the way. If you're new here, this is my flood salvage Porsche that I recently purchased for $15,000, which is a bargain for a manual coupe. I drove the car 800 miles home and quickly came to realize that this thing had some major issues, including running very hot very often, so I've spent the last couple weeks fixing the cooling system, catching up on Porsche maintenance, but with all that now sorted, I think it's finally time to have some fun and modify my cheap 996. Oh my God. This is a muffler from a 992 GT3, and we are gonna put this on my 996. This is probably the best sounding muffler you can buy for this car. In addition to the GT3 muffler, we're doing a ton of modifications today, short shifter, coilovers, and some services that are overdue on this 996. These coilovers were very kindly provided by BC Racing. A huge shout out to them. I've run these on my Volvos and they feel fantastic, so I'm stoked to have them on the 996. It's gonna fix that ride height and gonna make this handle a lot better. And to go along with them, we got a short shifter from Pelican Parts, some PowerFlex transmission bushings because we did the motor mounts but nothing to the transmission mount. And then I got some fluids. We desperately need to do brake fluid and manual gear oil to go along with the short throw shifter. This thing's gonna feel fantastic when I'm done with it, and hopefully it's gonna sound fantastic too. So let's get this thing up in the air, start dropping that suspension, and do some maintenance to this 996. We got so many cool projects happening on this car today, but I want to start by knocking out some simple maintenance. I need to do some manual transmission oil because the stuff in here is original, and I think it'll improve the shift feel quite a lot. First, we'll start by removing this under tray. Now the transmission fill plug can come out, or maybe not. That is tight. Small cheater pipe, let's see. There we go. Oh, there's vacuum in here. Whoa, oh, wow, that's an overfilled transmission. Weird, why is that so overfilled? Huh, that's not good. Now I'm very curious to pull this fill plug, because that is very much overfilled. What the heck? That is probably at least a quart over so far. I'm glad we're doing this. Now we can go in with some fresh fluid. Okay, so fluid is running out, which means that it's full. When the transmission's full, the fluid runs out, so it makes me wonder how they overfilled it that much. It must have been intentional, I would guess. It's all done now, and then I'll hose it down. In the last video, you may have seen I did some motor mounts. Actually, they're completely not visible, but I did not do a transmission mount. So we're gonna do a transmission mount insert kit from PowerFlex. This will stiffen up the transmission mount, make the shifts feel even better. So let's keep working under the car and pull off the old mount. There we go. Now we got to remove this bracket. Dropping it. There we go. Now we have enough room to remove this, and this is where we're going to insert our transmission mount bushing. And this goes up in here, so let's see if we can tap it in. Beautiful. Let's do the other side as well. There we go. It'll be easier with that removed. Let's see if a clamp can help me. Slowly but surely, this is actually going together. I think that's it. That's all the way in. Great. Now let's go ahead and put this guy back in here. Beautiful. Easy. I got the brake caliper out of the way, and the good news here is these look like brand new brake pads. Those have so much life left in them. Unfortunately, the rotors do have a bit of a lip on them, so I'll be replacing those in the future. For now, let's get this ugly old shock absorber out. What a strange design for an end link. I've never seen this before, but the sway bar end link is also the shock absorber bolt. That is so weird. Up top, we got one Torx bolt right here. And this whole panel should come up. Wow, that's dusty. These bolts hold in the shock. There we go. The rear suspension is out of the car, and honestly, this car has been surprisingly easy and fun to work on. I kind of just had this idea in my head that because it's a Porsche and it's a complicated German car, this thing would be difficult, especially something like suspension. But it's been incredibly easy, super fun. Everything's going very smoothly. There's no rust on this car. Everything comes apart incredibly easy. Here's what the old shock absorbers look like next to the new coilovers. And I mean, come on, this is so satisfying. Look at the difference. These look incredibly crusty and old, and this thing is gonna handle amazing. All four corners of the BC Racing coilovers are now installed on the 996. It looks absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to drive this thing and see how it handles on this new suspension. I mean, just look at this. I also cleaned out the fender liners so they look black now, and it looks fantastic. I can't wait to see this thing with the wheels back on. But we're gonna keep moving because there's a lot more to do on this project, including the 997 GT3 muffler. I can't wait to hear how this thing sounds on my 996 with the center exit. The brake fluid on this 911 is completely black, so we're gonna change it out with some fresh .4 brake fluid. I'm gonna use a Motive power bleeder. I think it's like a $50 tool that makes this job incredibly easy, hard to screw up, and I'm gonna show you how it's done. I'll take this tool, fill it up with fresh fluid. Now we'll screw this onto the brake reservoir. All right, we've got just over 25 PSI of pressure in this thing. The line is filled with fluid, and now we just come to the brake caliper back here. I got this nice little bottle. Gonna hang it on our nice new BC coilover, and then we'll use this bottle to catch the old dirty fluid. Whoa, it's blue fluid. So eventually this will turn yellow, and then we'll know that it's fresh. Now that the color's changed, we know that this is our new fluid. So I'm gonna close the bleeder, and that's all. It's always nice seeing air bubbles because you just know it's gonna feel better. That looks good to me. On to the next. That old fluid looks incredibly dark. I'm very glad we changed this out. I love doing this. The more I work on cars, the more I enjoy better brakes. All the other stuff is flashier and louder, but man, some fresh brake fluid, it just feels good in that pedal. It's also always nice to know that you've improved the safety of your car to some extent. Here goes the last bleeder. Bubbles, bubbles, and then fresh fluid. Sweet, that's it. The last piece of the puzzle is this beautiful short shifter. Because this thing is sloppy, man. Look at this. This is in gear. Look at how much play there is. We're gonna fix that. Oh, what the? It's got a short shifter. Dude, yeah, look at this.
Oh, nah. It's the same one you have right there.
Dude, it's the same thing. This car is ran through.
You just got a lighter shade of blue, bro.
Oh, what the heck is this? Why is this so sloppy then? It seems like it's that bushing there. Wow. That has nothing to do with this actual part, which that's kind of crazy because this is not that short. It does feel good, but I just got to fix that bushing, I guess. All right, I'll order a new bushing. Let's just put this back on and call it a day. That was easy. That means the only thing left is to put the wheels on, drop this down, and install this GT3 muffler. This feels a lot smoother. It goes into gear better. Doesn't clunk anymore. I think that fluid and the mount made a big difference.
It's on rails, dude.
Yeah, that feels so good. It's not bouncy at all. It's not like annoying coilover, like we're not sitting here going like this, you know? It's smooth. The ride quality is just as good as before, if not better. And it's responsive.
Yep.
And this baby's laying frame. No, it's not laying frame. I do need wheel spacers though. I think with some extra camber in this thing's gonna handle ridiculous in the crest. But before we drive it to the crest, I wanna put the GT3 muffler on, so let's head to an exhaust shop and see if they can make some magic work there. But now we're gonna eat pizza. As a little treat to ourselves.
Height review.
That's perfect height, right out the box. Just needs a little spacer. There's a reason I spent $1,000 on this used muffler, and the first is the form factor. It fits perfectly in this chassis and engine layout because it was designed for a very similar chassis, also with a flat 6. The next reason would be that the resonance chambers inside this muffler are actually tuned for a flat 6, so it should eliminate any annoying frequencies that come from this type of engine. And finally, this muffler has a crossover pipe built inside of it. This means that unlike the original exhaust on the car where the two banks of cylinders never meet, this muffler should make our Porsche sound like a true flat 6 rather than two 3-cylinder engines that just happen to be running next to each other. Before we take this car out for a drive, I want to take a quick second to thank this week's sponsor, which is Squarespace. Do you have a burning passion in your heart that needs a website, whether it's a clothing brand, a photography portfolio, or a blog for your pets? Squarespace is by far the easiest and most convenient way to bring your ideas to life. I've had my photography portfolio hosted on a Squarespace website for over 7 years now. Their templates make it incredibly easy to get a great looking website built in a matter of minutes. I also recently launched Wheelemsautorepair.com with some new merch, and Squarespace's commerce platform makes it incredibly easy to collect payments and ship orders. If that sounds like something you're interested in, you can hit the link in my description for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use coupon code WHEELEM for 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. This has got to be the most insane sounding 996 exhaust I've ever heard. From just a bass C2, this thing sounds absurdly good. I was scared this was gonna be too loud. I was scared it was gonna drone like crazy, but it sounds incredible. It doesn't drone on the highway, and just the tone out of this muffler is absolutely beautiful. You can tell it was made for a flat 6 because it just sounds right at home on this car. Absolutely insane. I did spend a lot of money on this exhaust. I bought the muffler for $1,000 and the fabrication was 300 bucks. So far I don't have a check engine light, but I'm sure that will come as the dog-a-lytic converters are no longer present. The BC suspension also handles so good up here. It makes me want to go even further with the car because it's on all original arms, and I know that it has so much more potential too. Listen to this downshift, ready? So good. And my brakes feel a lot more responsive as well with the new brake fluid, which is always fantastic. The bumper was cut just slightly to make this center exit exhaust fit, and I couldn't be more stoked with how it looks and how it sounds. In other news, I dropped some new shirts recently. This oil can is my new mascot for the shop, and I'm so stoked with how these turned out. I make and ship everything here in Los Angeles. This isn't some cheap merch company. If you want to support the channel, I'll link it down below. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next week with another video. Peace.